We were really excited about this project because we had the opportunity to unleash our creativity. In the beginning, we wanted to create a fictional story, but then we all decided together to illustrate a real life case in the format of a comic book. And finally, it was a fantastic idea. It allowed us to express our individual styles, evident in the slides, where each person let their creativity shine. We have chosen the case of JA and others versus Italy, which is one of the many cases of their country nationals forced to leave an European country in violation of their fundamental rights, including the Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which prohibits torture or inhuman or degrading treatment. The case dates back to October 2017, where four Tunisian nationals departed from their country. After an emergency at sea, the migrants were rescued by an Italian ship, which brought them to Lampedusa. Upon arrival, the applicants submitted that they underwent a medical checkup, received a flyer containing some information, and underwent identification procedures. They stayed at the center for 10 days and described their conditions as inhuman and degrading, with very limited possibility to leave the facilities. Eventually, the applicants were forcibly removed to Tunisia by airplane. The applications was lodged with the court in April 2018, and the European Court of Human Rights considered the alleged violations of three separate articles of the European Convention on Human Rights. First, the Article 3 on the prohibition of torture and or inhuman and degrading treatment. Second, the Article 5 on the prohibition of arbitrary detention of liberty, and Article 4 of Protocol 4 to the Convention on the Prohibition of Collective Expulsion of Aliens. It found that Italy had violated all three articles and ruled in favor of the applicants.
The aim of our project was to talk about how migration laws are often disagreed upon. This is clearly demonstrated through our comic format because it can show characters disagreeing through speech bubbles to show all of this disagreement over how to enact the law. This also helps to demonstrate the complexity of judging in such cases, as the smallest of factors can make a difference between whether the court supports the case or not. This is really exemplified through my section, which was on inhuman and degrading treatment and the alleged violation of Article 3. In a similar case in Khalifa in 2016, the court had ruled that this was not violated as the conditions in the camps were not severe enough to violate Article 3. This also occurred in a lot of previous cases where the courts had said that this article was not violated. However, in this particular case, this court decided to go against all these previous rulings and claim that the right was in fact violated in this hotspot. The government, in this case, they found, did not refute claims made that the centre was overcrowded and unhygienic, and they were also backed up by independent documents that the court examined. A couple of reasons were suggested for this break from the previous rulings. One of these is that a different method was used in this case for deciding on the rulings. But another key reason is that the migrants in this case were in the hotspot for 10 days, but it was only intended as a short stay centre. This means they were stuck in the poor conditions for much longer than people had been in the previous cases. So I think on some level the court thought that people could put up with things like this, with the overcrowding and the whole hygiene for a couple of days, but them having to put up with it for 10 days just was a more violation of that right. And this is kind of like a good example of how these small factors can pay a big difference in whether they won the case or not.
So the court focused on the applicant claim that they had been arbitrarily deprived of their liberties. In this regard, the court assessed whether the detention of the applicants was to be considered lawful in order to prevent his affecting an unauthorized entry in the country. The ECTHR recount that report that the Lampedusa center was described as a closed area with bars, gates, and metal fence that migrants are not allowed to leave. In light of the above, the chamber found a breach of the ECTHR. Moreover, it was decided that the applicants were not given enough information on the reason why they were being detained, and in turn, could have not been able to challenge the decision to claim in. This judgment unfilled the reasoning of Khalifa. In 2016, the court found a violation of Article 5.1 since the applicant's deprivation of liberty did not satisfy the general principle of legal certainty and was not compatible with the aim of protecting the individuals against arbitrariness. In some, the ECTHR unveiled its previous ruling and recognized that hotspot centers are often overused by governments in order to prevent migrants from reaching safe destinations. Moreover, this judgment enforced the argument that governments ought to justify why migrants are kept in border facilities without being given sufficient information on their conditions. The court also importantly unveiled that the dialect of the emergency use the ground decision to effectively detain migrants in inhuman condition is not acceptable anymore. So the question I had also was how was your chosen format reflect the theme of global connection and what theory concept approaches are relevant to your research? So our format reflects the notion of global connections because it is based on a case of the international organization. It's a way to show the importance of the situation because generally a case who goes there is a good example of a bigger crisis and it is not a single example. Therefore, we didn't base our work on theory or concepts. I think because of our personal opinions and backgrounds, we all already pretty had a good idea and notion of how we wanted to manage our work.
I'm excited to share with you our project on migration, a unique adventure with 5 students from different countries. In this collaboration, my role has been to delve into the expulsion of migrants, a delicate subject that has deeply impacted me. More specifically, my focus has been on the collective expulsion of aliens. I delve into legal case, highlighting inhuman treatment and challenges faced by migrants. I will now address 2 questions. The first regarding the interdisciplinary nature of our artifact, and the second regarding how this project has contributed to our learning and the challenges we encountered. Our project holds an interdisciplinary dimension, with team members specialized in philosophy, international relations, mathematics, and law. We merge our perspective to provide a comprehensive view. This diversity enriched our work, allowing us to address the case from various angles, from politics to the daily reality of migrants. This journey has been a significant learning opportunity, especially in the field of law. Challenges were present, notably in coordinating our artistic style. However, this diversity became an asset, enabling each of us to unleash our creativity, and it contributed to the richness of our artifacts. It deepened my understanding of sea migration's global impact. We successfully navigated the challenge of collaboration among 5 individuals for a comic, allowing each voice to freely express itself. In conclusion, our project embodies a simple yet meaningful interdisciplinary approach.
The judgment constitutes an important step towards enforcement of migrants' rights at the southern borders of Europe. Overall, the violations committed by Italy prompt a timely questioning of migratory management activities aimed to scrutinize and externalize border controls so far employed by the EU authorities and its member states. However, looking into the future, it will be interesting to keep an eye on the developments concerning the European Court of Human Rights case law. The judgment could not be final, as Italy may request a referral to the Grand Chamber. Moreover, there are other cases we still await a final judgment. Will the court follow the same approach? Will it fall back on previous missed opportunities for justice? Only time will tell. Looking next into how the interdisciplinary approaches helped us, I think looking at it from a law perspective, it's something that's new for us. However, we could bring all of our own ideas on the social and political aspects to it, as we've seen the social aspects on how the people were treated, what conditions they were in, but also politically on how Italy may be using this to maybe deter migrants coming into the future.